So I'm walking home, and my friend the horse is not here still, and I'm kind of bummed out by it, but I realized what's going on. This horse was down in these fields right here, and the horse was being used, and used is not always a bad word. All relationships are transactional. The horse is being used to eat up all the grass in this field, the things that were grown for that horse to eat. So it's done its job. So now it's somewhere else. I don't know where the owner lives. I've met the owner. And I have this apple in my backpack, which has a bruise. And the apple's going to go bad. And so now I have no one to give it to. I'll probably just cut the bruise out and eat it myself. Kind of sucks. It's alright, you know. Relationships are all temporary anyway. We're temporary. So I'm walking home, and soon I'll be to the shade, and I'll get to walk in the forest, mostly to get home. And that's how it goes. On this walk, I have switched away from listening to Thomas Sowell and his great books. Some of them narrated by him, and some of them narrated by somebody else, I'm pretty sure. And I was trying to listen to Nietzsche, a book about good and evil. And the narrator is some woman with an English accent, and her voice is very pleasant. But I have a hard time listening to it. I don't even know if Nietzsche spoke English. Like, was he a German writer? I don't know. And I haven't read Nietzsche in, I don't know, over 30 years. But if he was writing in German, then anything translated from German is kind of hard to understand in some ways. Like, reading Kant when I was in college, I don't know, sentences are very long and stuff. And this chick has such a pleasant voice, and it is a little bit harder for me to listen to her English accent. I kind of wish a grumpy old fuck would narrate it. I think I'd be a great narrator for some grumpy old shit. I do know that Nietzsche is very misunderstood, and I guess all philosophers are, as I will be. Oh well, so, it's just so nice to shade. God damn. Anyway, I'm sure she's a fine narrator, but her voice is almost too pleasant. Like, is the guy Morgan Freeman? I think it's Freeman, not Friedman. Not Milton Friedman, but Morgan Freeman, is that his name? Black guy, really fucking great voice, great actor. You could listen to the guy read the phone book and you'd probably enjoy it. I would. His voice is just probably the best voice I know of. Fuck. Okay. One time I fell down and sprained my ankle on this exact gate because the rocks were loose, and oh well, shit happens. So I was thinking about a different topic though for this walk home, and it was, can we even talk? And I was on this site where they chat a lot. There's a big chat mess, and they just are all over the place. Huge amounts of people all over the world arguing about shit, not using the same terms, no definition, no organization of the conversation. Even though occasionally there's a moderator who tries to make it be organized and a pleasant conversation. Some rooms on it, or channels, or whatever they're called, are just people being mean and just arguing all the time. And so this made me think of the great ontology. the great outline of every topic that's ever existed, every question there could be. Because we're on these social platforms where people say all this shit, including people I know and respect to some degree, and they're not using the same terms, which is okay because words don't actually have definitions. We use them very different ways. And so what we have to do is take words and break them down into definition 1, definition 2, definition 3. You can toss an adjective in front of the word. You can break it apart because people use them so differently. You know, like the word capitalist. Fuck. People say they're anti-capitalist. I don't know what they mean. You know, there's no capitalist countries in the world. Are we going to define plutocracies as capitalist? Has there ever been a capitalist country for any length of time? So we're not using the same terms, but I guess this idea of having a massive outline of every topic you could possibly talk about, you know, whether it's land ownership or, you know, human relations and ethics and morality, which the word morality was getting tossed around like crazy in this one conversation I was in. I don't know what morality is. I don't believe in morality. But then again, I see a difference between ethics and morality. I use those words in specific ways because of philosophy classes I took 40 years ago. So if we did have a big outline, and we can actually have conversations where people in text and in audio and video were able to share ideas intelligently and see where exactly they disagree or agree on very specific, very important issues, that might be useful. No AI would be allowed. And just everybody kind of, in a sense, trying to express themselves in the best way they could. Like there was a conversation about a very banned word, like one of the worst words you can possibly say. And I did not even join the conversation because it was such a messy conversation. And I realized that even though I have thoughts on the topic, a very important topic, I didn't want to jump into that conversation. So if we had such a thing, and if kids even grew up on that, they grew up not just seeing random influences in conversation, talking about anything in whatever way, and people having all their emotions come up based on whatever keyword someone says, and then they're reacting to it, telling the other people what they think based on something they said that isn't something they believe in. Maybe if kids grew up and there was such a resource, an ontology of intelligent conversation, maybe that would be far more useful than the stream of conversation that exists in most social media. Which reminds me of a book I ran into when I got to college. It was the Syntopicon, which was put together by, forgot the name of the guy. Great guy, Syntopicon. That was just one person though. And so, but I ran into that book when I was 18 in the philosophy library at the university I went to. And it helped me understand the complex difficulties of philosophy. And wouldn't that benefit us all if we could then go through and see what different people's experiences, first their opinions, right? Their conclusions, but then you can also look them up and see what are the lived experiences that they use to base those thoughts upon. Because I've ended up with the way I think based on the experiences I've had, and I spent my life seeking out very extreme experiences. And it's been extremely painful. It's broken my head many times, and I've had to reassemble it and go through my whole philosophy, starting over and over. I don't luckily have to do that anymore. By the time I was 27, I was super angsty and very frustrated with everything. But that seems like a great website to have, is a great ontology of thought. collecting the thoughts of many. You could have polls in it. You could have polls on conclusions as well. This could even be useful for anything we would call democracy, about making decisions about public policy. It could also be related to social policy, of what we think is okay and not okay. Like, I like this, there's a Reddit group called Am I the Asshole? AMTH, Am I the Asshole? I think it is. Could be wrong. And that would be helpful for all of us, because then we would realize the commonalities we have and also the differences. And that might even help us know who we agree with more, you know, on really important topics that affect us totally. I could give you examples, but I'd prefer it if you thought of your own. Because you've had interpersonal relationships that sucked. You felt abused and wronged. But it seems like a good tool to come up with. You could do that. It could be a great website. It'd be big. It'd be organized. Right now on things like YouTube and Quora and Facebook, you just got a big mess of thought. Disorganized. Much of it from anonymous people, and increasingly from fake people, fake accounts, lots of AI-generated content that will proliferate much faster than anything else. So, yeah, what if you had access to that? Might be a useful tool. Wait a minute, why am I getting those names confused? So it's Milton Friedman, Morgan Freeman. Totally different people. I don't have time to, read whole names or anything. That's funny. My brain's getting old or something.